Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to Joyful Living. Welcome to another daily video from me. As you know, every day during this very interesting time, I am bringing new videos to you guys every single day, either on this channel or on my main channel, which I will put a link to right here. And today we're going to be talking about self-care during difficult times. And I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what I'm doing right now to kind of stay sane and to keep my body, mind, and spirit calm and at peace during a truly insane time. And I'm really glad that you're here. So I don't want to dwell on what is going on for the purposes of this video for a couple of different reasons. The first one is my hope is that this video will have longevity long past this particular season of all of our lives being over, and a memory, and by the way, one for the history books. So if you're not already keeping a journal in some shape, form, or fashion, now would be a great time to do that, because I promise you, your grandchildren are going to ask you about this time, and you're going to want something to look back on, because we're probably going to have a lot of lapses in memory when it's all over. But the other reason I don't want to dwell on it is because we all know what's going on. We are inundated with information about what's going on. So what I hope to bring to you guys today is not specifics or information or advice, but more just to share with you some things that I'm doing to help me cope. And the reason why I've developed a lot of these strategies is because we have been through some difficult times. Scott and I together have been through some tough times, particularly right after 9/11. We had a long period of job loss, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of things felt very scary and kind of like the world was coming to an end. And during that time, through some great friends, some great therapy, I developed some tools from my toolbox that I still use today during times of uncertainty to just kind of settle myself down. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys today exactly what I'm doing to cope. Your personal situation, what you need to do to cope may be completely different than this, but it might at least start you thinking in that line of, okay, what are the tools in my toolbox? What do I need to develop as far as routines and strategies to deal with this cuckoo bananas time? So the first thing that I would say is, yes, a lot has changed. Your situation right now, whether it's because of what's going on currently in our world or because of some other kind of loss or disruption in your life, is crazy and not okay. However, there are a lot of things that have not changed, and you may want to just take out pen and paper and write those things down. For me, those things would include the love of my family, the love of my dogs, my routine with my dogs, my routine with my running, my routine with my walking, my routine with my yoga, the ability to eat healthily, although that is beginning to be a tad bit more of a challenge, but I've still been able to find plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables at our local grocery store. Things like that are the same. I think you'll find that if you're honest, there are a whole bunch of things, at least I find, there are a whole bunch of things that haven't changed. And focusing on those things really keeps me from going to a very dark place in my mind. And speaking of going to dark places in my mind, the first few days I was devouring news and social media. I was on it constantly. And all I was doing was staring into a screen and getting more and more scared and more worried. And the unknown is truly the most terrifying thing of all. And right now, because people don't know a lot, they're filling in the blanks with kind of piecing things together from history or what they think they know. And it can be flat out terrifying. So I realized, because I am a very sensitive soul, I refer to myself as an empath quite a bit. Those of you that are Star Trek fans know what I'm talking about. I am the Deanna Troi of my house, and I really do take on other people's pain. I'm sort of like tofu. I take on the flavors of whatever is around me. So if I'm surrounding myself with frustration and anger and fear and all of that, guess what I start to feel? frustrated, angry, and fearful. So about maybe 4 days in, I realized, all right, we got to cut that out. So I'm now limiting myself to a very short period of news in the morning. And usually I just try to read instead of watch. And then I do watch like one news program in the evening, but maybe only for like 15 or 20 minutes. Some great non-hysterical options include your local PBS station. The regular PBS News is great. I don't want to watch anything too sensational right now. And that is really just for me about self-preservation. I have to be extremely careful about what I'm exposing myself to. And then don't even get me started on the fear-mongering that goes on over on social media. Now, I am a big fan of social media. I'm connecting with a lot of my friends right now that way, and it is helping all of us get through. But I have to limit that because there's a lot of crazy there and a lot of really angry people sharing a lot of misinformation. And I find that doesn't really help my soul and my spirit. So again, I'm putting parameters around that and making sure I'm not exposing myself to all of that for too many hours during the day. Another thing I'm doing that's really, really helping is I'm keeping a regular schedule. Now, when I say regular, obviously it isn't regular at all, especially because my husband has been in and out. He is still working, by the way. My sons are here. It's just kind of nuts and weird and insecure, but I'm still pulling out my planner. I'm still doing my to-do list for every day. I'm still I'm charting out everything to when am I going to do my yoga? When am I going to do my walking? When am I going to go for a run? When am I going to walk the dog? When am I going to check on my mom? Like all of those little things, because I find that my personality works best with structure. And although treating it like a snow day for a couple of days is okay, if I go much longer than that without some sort of structure, I get super depressed. So I'm getting up in the morning, I'm making my bed, which I had put something out on Instagram about #make your dang bed. Just habits to get into that will make you feel as normal as humanly possible. I'm not, unaware that these are completely abnormal times, but putting some normalcy in my schedule and trying to stick to the same routine every day is really helping me feel more at peace. And it's helping the days not just run together, because I do love me a good checklist, and it is really gratifying to be able to check those things off and feel like, okay, I actually got something accomplished today. Another thing that I'm trying to do is make sure I get plenty of time alone. Now, if you are social isolating literally alone, then what I'm going to say next is going to feel ridiculous. But for a lot of us, we have husbands or wives around more than usual. We have children around more than usual. And if you're someone who really needs solitude in order to feel like yourself, you're going to have to fight for that time. And if you live with someone who doesn't need that much solitude, you may have to explain to them, there's going to be times during the day where I'm going to go into my space and shut the door. Now, for me, that's here in our bedroom, and my entire family knows, and I was trained this way by my mom. If my mom went in her bedroom and shut the door, it meant closed for business. I need a minute. So I will come in here, I will shut the door, I will read a book, I'll listen to music, but most importantly, I've communicated to my loved ones. Now, granted, I don't have really little ones, so this would have to be negotiated with your partner, if hopefully you have one, to get some really good alone time. If that does not happen for me, especially in a house like this, that's a lot of loud and a lot of chaos, I start to kind of have an issue. So it's really important to me that I carve out that time every single day to be by myself. The other thing I'm trying to do is have a very consistent bedtime. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm sleeping, but I am trying to be in my room, winding down, off computers, and reading a book by about 9:30 or 10 every night. And that's also creating some great margin for me with my family, because they don't go to bed till really, really late. My husband doesn't go to bed till really, really late. So I know I'm going to be able to come in here in my sanctuary and have that wind down time. And it is really helping me face the next day with a lot more positive mental strength. And really, that's what all of this is about, is you're having to preserve conserve your emotional energy. And I always like to think of it like your emotional energy is water in a cup. And every time you carelessly expose yourself to social media, carelessly expose yourself to the news, carelessly expose yourself to maybe toxic people, whatever the case may be, you're spilling that emotional energy out onto the ground and you're wasting it. And then you don't have it when you really need it and you really need to draw from it. And for me right now, I feel like my emotional energy is pretty necessary. It's important for you guys as I'm trying to bring you these videos every day. It's important for my family. It's important for my dogs. You know, there's a lot of different people that are relying on you right now to keep your head when all those around you are losing theirs. And that really is the key to all of this, to remember to just stay centered and calm and remember all of the things about your life, about your existence that you can still be grateful for. Now, I want to say a particular word to those of you that are completely unhinged when it comes to your finances. I have nothing but empathy because I have been there and my husband is in aviation. So I know all too well the fear you guys are feeling right now about job security, financial security, and it is so easy to let those fears and anxieties completely take over, and you just can't let it. It's so hard. But it really helps me to kind of write down all of those worst case scenarios and just go there, right? Instead of kind of trying to keep the worst case scenario at bay, to really go there in my mind, to look it straight in the eye, to stare down that dragon and say, you know what? That would be bad if those things happened, but I would still have my family. I would still have the people I love. In my case, I would still have my dogs. And you know what? We're going to be okay. And not to say this in a way that sounds trite or condescending, but we really are all in this together. So, you know, we all need to be looking out for each other, to be caring for others. And that's my last thought for you guys of how you can kind of help get through this time. Make sure you're still focusing on other people. I think that for me, if I start to get way too internal and I focus everything into myself, it's very depressing. So start looking out for other people. Maybe it's a neighbor. I know my mom has some neighbors that are being so good to her right now. They're bringing her groceries. They're taking such great care of her. Maybe you can do that for a neighbor. Maybe it's a charitable cause that you have a few dollars that you can give to. Maybe it's a friend that you know is literally social isolating alone, and maybe you can make a phone call. Which now is the time for that. If you're like me, I don't really love talking on the phone. I'm more of a texter, but this may be a time where a phone call is the appropriate thing to do because everyone is suffering and everyone is trying to get through this with their sanity intact, with their good humor intact, and they just want to get to the other side with as little damage as possible. So all of these things I'm telling you guys to do, I'm looking in the mirror every day and saying to myself, remember to keep your schedule, remember to get your exercise in, remember to eat well, and to try to act as much as possible like things are normal and that we're going to be okay. So how are you doing? How are you coping? I'm not gonna go on and on and on about this stuff a lot on either of the channels, but this is your opportunity to really share with me how you're coping. And if you have a particular way that you're dealing that you're finding very helpful, please put that in the comments below because I'm sure other people would love to hear that as well. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I wish you would. It doesn't cost you a dime. There's a big red subscribe button and hit those bell notifications. And if you're not subscribed to the other channel and you want to get a big dose of hope and maybe some Disney and some fun every day, make sure you subscribe over there as well. It's just called Jen Lefforge on YouTube. And if you want to get access to kind of the inner workings of my brain, I did dust off the blog and I am daily blogging over there. It's very much stream of consciousness. But yeah, if you want to really know what's going on in my brain, I invite you to go and check that out at jenlefforge.com. I hope whatever you're doing today, you're finding joy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.